Established in April 2021, Upland Development United is an exclusive property development collaborative for the Upland Metaverse. If you're a bigger picture and loyal team player who has a great sense of humour and is looking to get more engaged in a diverse and experienced team, you can help us and we can help you. Contact Morecheese or Ben68 for more information. Warning, all opinions within are solely the views of the individuals involved.
The UDU, Upland Development United, installed their neighborhood nodes throughout the entirety of Upland. Their reach was unmatched.
Hello and welcome to UDU team meeting number 32. Today is the 16th or the 17th of November. Just got off the Better Business meeting and still don't know how I feel about the whole thing, but we'll get to that in a second. Some market information. I've tweaked it a little bit this week. We're going to include some extra stuff, which I think might be fun just to have a timeline on as we move forward. San Francisco floor stable at 25K. Manhattan, massive jump. We already had a big jump last week from 65K, now we're at 85K, and the floor there is incredibly weak. I think there's only a half a dozen at about 88K and a few bits and pieces here, there, and everywhere. I think this time next week we're probably looking at 100K, which is kind of mental. Chicago, steady, same 4.9K, but what's interesting about that is you can still buy unminted in Chicago for 4.3K. I just went ahead and bought, I think I bought another 100 and something under 5K, which, it's interesting to see that in a tier one city. We know it's going to be massive in the future, and there's still so many available. It definitely has that Manhattan 4 to 6K vibe back in the day, although, you know, of course, Chicago is much bigger. Santa Clara has had a little bump up to 16K from 15.5, so not a lot of movement there. The Bitcoin price, we're at 60,600 US, Ethereum 4,300, Engine $2.90, and Wax, wow, Wax is up to 81 cents. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes too. I forgot to talk about last week, marketplace analytics that the team put together. That's been quite useful. I mean, it's pretty janky, it's pretty clanky, but it's there and it is helpful in some respects. However, it's only updated once every 24 hours, which really limits, you know, what you can do basically. I know I was doing a bunch of stuff and then I went back to try and do some other stuff, and then it was all confused with properties I'd already bought, but they're still on the list. So that's a bit frustrating. But and another thing that we'll keep track of is at the moment, I think it was 61.8 million UPEX volume, average UPEX volume, something like that. That's kind of cool to see. And yeah, I have been talking about my sales rampage as I was moving towards a bunch of goals. That's over. I did manage to hit all of my targets, chief executive, 2 million UPEX per month and over 5K properties. So now the battle is to delist everything. I'm still getting some sales come through, but instead of, you know, counting my UPEX, now I'm saying, God damn it, I didn't want to sell that. So, but that's really hard to do without UPEX World. To find what I have on sale and where it is really frustrating. Swiss Power did show a way to do it within the app, but that's even clunkier than the marketplace analytics. So that's what I'll be spending some time on today. Cheese, are you available to give us a rundown on the Spark 7 train update?
I am. So we're completely filled up, and the last property has about 4.24 days left. So we can definitely start a new one this weekend. I don't know if I'll do it today because I'm really busy today, but tomorrow I may put out a form to fill out for everyone who wants to sign up for an apartment building this coming up, and we can see, depending on the numbers, if we could put 1 or even 2 in there. I don't know if you could hear my Roomba vacuum. If you can, I'm sorry. So yeah, that'll be exciting to see if that's something we can add on a regular basis, and it'll only help out UDU as well as the person we're helping build the apartment for.
So we're still gonna put that in like a random generator and just have a list, a hit list.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds good. I like that idea.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so if you want to get in on that, check it out. So yeah, I've just added a bunch more Spark, you know, because I got that extra 2.4 Spark for leveling up. So I just piled all that on to what I could. So yeah, I should be able to go a bit heavier into Spark Train number 8. Although the speed with which the UCC contract is moving, I've got to have 6 builds all up at once. So, you know, that eats up 1.2 Spark as it is. So it's looking like the way that all this extra Spark's coming into the market, and a lot of people going to the UCC, and they're piling on even faster. So I may have to push that out to 8 builds going on at once. So that's good news and bad news at the same time.
Bittersweet.
Yeah. Wine of the week, Chicago Treasures, RIP. It was fun while it lasted. Some people made massive bank. I know I sat down, I had probably half an hour to spare last night. I thought, I'll go and do some Chicago Treasures. Yeah. Reality check. Back to the old days of, yeah, not being able to go to these spawn points.
Well,
so
that's another bittersweet. Like, it definitely made my treasure hunting harder, but at the same time, you don't want people to keep getting these massive amounts of Spark. Like, I'm glad it was people in the UDU. Hopefully nobody else got it. But yeah, so like, I don't mind. I got 0.12 last week. For me, that was the highest I've gotten for this event that they just started, and I'm happy with that. I'm good to even get 0.6 per week, to be honest. Like, you don't want it to be distributed that fast.
yeah, well, I know of at least 2 people who got over 2 Spark, which is just,
yeah, wow.
That's massive. You know, you're talking about nearly $1,000 in value. Yeah, I was a bit dumb. I mean, once those spawn points were known, I was treasure hunting like crazy, but I kept collecting the chests. It took me like a week or whatever it was, several days to work out, well, just leave the chest there, and then when you get the arrow pointing in that direction, you're going to know exactly where it is. So yeah, I missed out on a bunch because I was just a dickhead, basically.
It got to the point where I didn't even have to leave the chests. I just remembered, and like, there was always, oh, there it goes. And even if somebody claimed that plane, I'm like, all right, I know exactly where it is.
Were you in Chicago? Oh, San Francisco.
San
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Win of the week, Cheese Stradamus. You want to talk about that?
I don't remember.
I think it was.
I don't remember most of my predictions. All I know is nobody listens to them.
I think it was in a wine and cheese episode, wasn't it? You were talking about how it'd be awesome if Kpop could get into the NFT situation.
Yeah.
I forget who we were talking to.
It was when we were talking about the Anamika.
Oh yeah, it might have been the team meeting. Yeah, my mistake.
And we wanted it to be Japan. We wanted Hong Kong to be the first international, and I said, if they go there, there's so much opportunity, like South Korea with the K-pop, and it's so popular. And yeah, like K-pop is really coming up. I mean, it's there already. It doesn't have to come up, but it's still coming up, and people who like are getting just how do you say, like, it's kind of being pushed in everyone's face in a good way.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah, and lo and behold, we just had an announcement by Animoca that they are doing K-pop NFTs.
Yeah.
That's
Like
incredible.
I see that being big
Yeah, for sure.
and bringing a lot of people into the space.
Yep, absolutely. And especially like once they start digging into all of these like tie-ins, like I'm sure, you know, Animoca is going to have branding for Upland in their website somewhere. Like you don't just spend $18 million and not, you know, pimp it out almost. So shall be interesting. Cool. I'm glad you're in, Jedi. You might be able to smack me on the wrist if I speak out of line for this next bit, the Better Business meeting results. So make sure you give me a smack if I'm probably saying something I shouldn't be saying.
Will do. Can I get your brush, Morecheese?
I'll give you the brush and the knife.
All right, that's it.
Nice. How did you feel overall, Jedi?
Overall, I feel with regards to our businesses, no more clarity, you know, but with the model, kind of mixed emotions, I guess. How about you?
Yeah, I'm the same. I think it's going to take me a while to fully digest it and, you know, have a think. And I did write some good and some bad points down. One of the good points is that basically venture dues equals business case. So you're not going to have these massive upfront costs associated with buying a license and that sort of thing. So there's a much lower barrier to entry. Obviously, a lower barrier to entry equals more competition. But one of the other good points is that our licenses are no longer tied, well, they're not licenses anymore, but our businesses are not tied to a specific city. And I know, Jedi, that was something you were kind of struggling with, you know, where the hell were you going to put your business? So that's probably one of the biggest positives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm, you know, I like how Chicago is centrally located to everything, you know, and we have quite a big presence there in Chicago with the UDU and other areas. So that was one of the first things that came to my mind, you know, so.
Yeah, for sure. Another good point is Block Explorer shops are still targeted for the end of the year. So all of those guys spoke about that. And yeah, Jedi's right. There is quite a big disparity between the information that the Block Explorer shop people got and the Outdoor Decor shop got. Basically, the entire thing has been reimagined for like what I think is longer term stability. So, you know, that can only be a good thing. I mean, it kind of sucks for us because we put all these plans in place based on what we know, but who knows? It's, as I said, for Outdoor Decor, we're still not really sure where we stand. Some of the bad points, yes, we can move our business to any city we want. However, we believe that outdoor NFTs still need to be minted on physical property, which means you can't just on a whim move to a different city. You know, you're not going to just suddenly go and, you know, set up business in Manhattan if you're Outdoor Decor, unless you're going to have, you know, your shop and then 2 properties to display your outdoor decor on. One of the questions that they didn't ask was, I asked if multiple NFTs were going to be able to be minted on a single property. I also asked if the Spark Exchange was going to be live for us to be able to use in order to create our NFTs, because that's what we've been told previously. You're going to have to use Spark to essentially mint your NFTs on your properties for sale. They basically palmed that off and said, you know, this chat that we're having today was only talking about the basic idea of what they're calling Metaventures. So
the model itself, yeah.
Yeah, so they're just talking about the kind of the underlying fundamentals of it all. They weren't really interested in getting into any specifications. And same, I asked about the art specs. When are we going to get art specs so we can start working? And same, we didn't get much, well, we didn't get any information on that other than...
I'm having my brush ready just in case, you know. You're in the clear.
So still no art specs yet.
Cyclonics asked a question in the UDU chat.
Yeah.
Did they give a time scale and how new business owners will join?
No.
No.
No. All they've said is that this core group of 20 better business holders, they will proceed everything else as planned, and it'll go from there. I'd expect. Now, it'll be interesting to see if they run block explorers, the 10 block explorer, what do I say, Metaventure holders. They're not business license holders anymore. If they go live with the block explorer shops, it'll be interesting to see if that all works smoothly, whether they push out that model to the wider community before we go live with outdoor decor better. You know, we don't know.
Yeah, I was wondering myself about that. Like, I was actually just talking to Uplando, and I was like, hey, you know, I mean, I guess this means that people could actually kind of do both businesses now with the entry point being lower, but he's really focused on the block explorer aspect. But yeah, I think it opens up more opportunity, but it's also kind of interesting. It's definitely not going to be as exclusive that I was thinking it was going to be because of that barrier to entry. But I'm curious to see how it is, you know, I mean.
Yeah, they're basically focusing on what is essentially a self-managed framework. So with the venture dues model, it's basically a business tax that's scaled to saturation to force the spread of businesses throughout the Upland metaverse. So if we have too many of the same business types, so I assume that just means vaguely block explorer shops, outdoor decor shops. If there's too many of those in a particular city, well, the tax rate goes up. If there's fewer, the tax rate goes down. So, you know, obviously,
pretty significant amount. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I kind of front loaded this, and I bought big properties in Fresno. I have still some connected big properties in Manhattan, which I think I talked about in the last 10 minutes. A couple of times I nearly went to sell them, but I didn't. So I do have the potential there to move if it becomes necessary, or like you've said, Jedi, maybe I can franchise out to myself and run multiple businesses. You just don't know. But that's still going to be a pretty hefty barrier to entry for new players. Like, you're not suddenly going to have 1,000 businesses in San Francisco or Manhattan, because the cost is just extraordinary to set that up. Yeah, it'll be interesting. But then again, with block explorer shops, you only really need one property that can fit an apartment building on to run those. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting dynamic to see how it all plays out.
With the new tax thing in place, are you still required to pay that 5 to 6 whatever? You don't have to pay that anymore.
Well, that was a misconception from the get-go. There's been a lot of misconceptions about what that money was for. That budget, the 1 million for the block explorer shops and the 5 million for the outdoor decor shops, it was never going to be the payment for the business license. The business license for the better business people was originally, you're in better business, so you get that business license for free for, we assumed, was that first year of testing. What that budget was the assumed cost that it was going to be required to run your business for 1 year. So that means, buying all the property for outdoor decor, renting Spark from the Spark Exchange to mint your NFTs. I assume, well, it's different now because block explorer shops are only going to be secondary sales, meaning at the moment, the block explorer shops can only sell block explorer shops that are in the ecosystem. But I assume, like in future, when they can make their own custom block explorer shops, there's probably going to be some kind of Spark manufacturing need there as well. So, of course, that comes into, it was all going back to the Spark Exchange. You were going to have a bunch of money to be able to pay to rent the Spark to mint your NFTs to sell to other people.
So I remember it being, you had to have it in your, you have to have it on hand.
Yeah.
Is that still required, is my question.
No, they made no mention of that at all.
All right. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that they didn't make any specific reference to anything like that. It was all just very focused on the changes to the core foundations and what it all is.
Right, more of the differences than
yeah.
any of more new details. Yeah.
Did they mention anything about like looking forward in the future, if you'll be able to rent your property to businesses? Like, let's say somebody wants to have a business in Chicago, for example, and there's no more property left, and they don't really want to buy anything. Let's say the prices are sky high, hopefully, in the future, and they want to just rent your property to open their business. Is that something they mentioned?
No, but that's a great thing to bring up. But I know a lot of things they're wanting to kind of leave in the hands of the players and the business owners. That they're not really wanting to micromanage. They do want to provide the tools for us to be successful. So that's probably something really good to bring to their attention. But yeah, they didn't mention anything about that.
I think that would be something to talk about.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting point, like that whole rental thing. Like, if you're wanting to rent a block within, say, Chicago that's sold out, because you want to do your outdoor decor shop, yeah, that's going to give another reason why people might want to rent them. So,
but I can foresee where there could be issues. I guess you would need to rent with a certain contract before you started, so no one can be like, oh yeah, no, this guy's going to pay me more, or I have other plans I want to do with that property now. So. Yeah. Definitely we'll have to have like term leases and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, definitely a lease, like for a certain amount of time.
One of the other big changes is that businesses are now tied to one account only. So we know in the previous iteration, I think you brought it up, Cheese, and I wasn't even aware of it at the time. Like, as a Better Business holder, if I decided I didn't want to run my business, well, I could lease it to you. That's no longer the case.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that till Cheese brought it up too. But I looked into it, and yeah, she was right. But yeah, that's no longer the case. So if I start my business and I get it up and running, and if I get hit by a bus or decide that I don't want to do it anymore, it's, as far as we know at this point, that's it. It's done. You can't. It didn't seem like there was going to be an avenue to sell your business or anything like that, but not sure at this stage.
Hopefully they'll, fix that in the future.
Yeah. Was there anything else that stood out to you, CJ? I'm just having a look through my notes.
No, I can't really say. I'm just kind of interested in the how it's going to play out with. Some of the models were showing quite a bit of businesses in certain cities. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. See how that plays out.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see how the quality of work that is produced when the entry level is not that high, so curious to see that.
Yeah, and hopefully we get a bit more action in the well, I guess they're going to have to change it now, the Metaventures business channel. Hopefully they would say there's going to be more liveliness or life in there, so we'll see how that goes. I guess, Coop, I got to build a apartment in Portage Park in case I need to set up shop in Chicago, because that's about the only place. Oh, I do have full blocks in Almond Park, and yeah, I've got 2 full blocks. I always dig into the guys over at Portage Park, the guys and girls there. They say, oh, look, check out me full block, but it's like a half block. It's not a full block, so they hate me for that, but that's all good. So yeah, I do have 2 full blocks over there, so who knows? I know Coop was testing the waters as far as businesses go with the existing ex-business license holders. So yeah, you might keep the feelers out on that one, Coop, because yeah, it definitely seems like that flexibility that was lacking in the old model is now opened right up. So see how we go.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how, if we can have like multiple outdoor decor shops in the different places. You think that's the case, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, and it puts the whole thing, like, use Dogpatch as an example. We know Dogpatch has 6 businesses, so those guys are already competing to raise their own taxes. They've got, I think they've got 3 Block Explorer shops and 3 outdoor decor shops within their neighborhood. So you're essentially, yeah, it's a weird one. Like, even like what we initially tried to set up with Midtown Terrace was getting lots of business owners in the one spot, but now you're like, no, go away. Get out of here.
But if they're different, then it won't bring it up, or is it like just
I
in
think it's
general?
based on the business itself. So since they do have 3 Block Explorer shops, those will be, you know,
In their
raising.
own tax bracket?
Right.
Yeah.
And
All right. Yeah,
I
so we
think
just
each-
have to make sure we kind of diversify.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a complete rethink of that sort of whole process. You're going to be wanting to get, you know, as many businesses as you can to boost your neighborhood rating score, but you don't want them to be all the same business types. So they're kind of, it throws that whole thing where we talked about ages ago, where, you know, you think of car dealerships, there's often 7 of them within, you know, one small area because they all benefit from that exposure, which makes sense in the real world, but not in this Metaventures thing. You're just kind of screwing each other over with higher taxes.
Right. But you do I think the benefit though is like within in the MTU business area, the more businesses there, the longer they're there. And anytime a customer spends more time in a certain, you know, area, the more likely they're going to spend. So there is that benefit too.
Fincy said S Longwood Drive could be cool as well, and if these presented on a shopping street, yeah, there you go. We've got plenty of opportunities there. Cool.
I'm gonna say maybe in Chicago also Logan Square, because A, it's a collection, and B, it's still pretty cheap right now, and C, the market price for it is really going up in value. I know somebody in the Upland Discord put the top 4 areas in Chicago that are moving up, and Logan Square was one of them. And I have a few 3 or 4 block properties there already. I remember months ago I was telling people to buy there at 7-8K UPX, and now I think it's about 15 and up.
Nice.
If you're lucky, 15, maybe 17.
Cool.
So that might be something to jump on before this meeting goes out.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And yeah, if you do have an idea for a business and yeah, you know where you potentially want it, yeah, you get yourself an apartment building done and ready to go if you can. All right, moving on to the Upland Mash, just a quick update on that. We did have Dub did some work through and he put in a couple of examples of the disclaimers. He did one like a kind of normal one and a kind of monstery one. So if you can jump in and put a vote on that, see which one you like the best. We'll leave that there for another week or so. Haven't heard back from the Nasties, but yeah. I think Bock was keen to go. He put a message out. Is it on today, the first episode? I'm like, no, mate, we're still in the very early planning stages. So I think hopefully we can get one episode out this year, you know, kind of mid-December or something like that. See how we go. Because what is it now? Yeah, so I can't believe November's already half over. It's just crazy.
The older you are, the faster life goes.
Apparently so. Yeah, I can't say I'm
Still in
enjoying it.
May.
UCC contract update. Yeah, as I said, I'm just looking at it now. I have 2 buildings completed and I've got 2 for, yeah, there's 6 more under construction. Mass did ping me when I was at work. He said, oh, your last one's full and we have other people wanting to stake. Can you put some others up to build? So I did quickly put 2 more up from memory while I was at work and probably shouldn't have had my phone in my hand, but I'm not 100% sure that I got the base colors right. I know I got the roof color right, so I might have screwed up the base colors, but we'll see how we go.
Wait, we have color coordination where?
That block I'm building with the UCC is the MTU block in the roof colors.
Oh, all right. Wait,
Yeah.
I have a phrase to coin.
All right.
First Metaverse problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
The struggle. The
struggle is real. Yeah. Well, hopefully that's going to be a business that comes online. Yeah, you can get your house repainted a different color or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. But yeah, either we'll see how it goes. Now, do I either just try and stick back to the original schedule and just have one little weird one? I think there's one that's wrong. Or do I just make it all weird for the base colors and then just make sure the roofs are the right color?
I'm not good with decoration.
No. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of mixing it up a bit, but then it kind of looks cool to see it uniform as well. All right. See how it plays out. Wine and cheese update. How we going, cheese?
Hold on.
We had a busy week last week.
Yeah, we were with the UCC. That was a pretty cool meeting with them. We talked about their services and whatnot, and the roadmap, the Upland roadmap, which is not for my taste, but yeah.
The vague map.
The vague map.
Too many short logs on the vague map.
I put out my Uplando NFT and I put up my Bricks NFT. So now I start working on the UCC episode NFT. And anybody who watches our meetings but doesn't really know about wine and cheese, you can get these NFTs. All you have to do is watch out for the sickos message from Ben, and he'll tell you what to do to get them. It's not really hard. Most of the time, it's just leaving a comment on the YouTube. Other times, it's joining a Discord and just tagging me and saying hi or something. So yeah, look out for that.
Yeah, make sure no matter what you do, you tag cheese so it doesn't get lost. Very cool. And what else we got? Not many more on the list. The website, I did go ahead and publish that, even though it's in the very, very, very early stages. Yeah, so that's UDU.world. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't checked that out yet.
Well, what I've put up so far is just a couple of, I spent 40 minutes just doing some copy and paste rips from the existing documentation. So yeah, don't need too much critical feedback just yet. It will change significantly as, you know, it all gets patched in. It will be a bit messy for a while, but yeah, it'll get there. It's just to show everyone like the kind of core structure. Well, one thing that did come up is if you do want your portfolio or like a brief paragraph, you know, it could be a picture of you or a picture of your block explorer and, you know, maybe when you joined Upland, you know, where you're based, I don't know. As much or as less information as you want about yourself. If you can put that together and DM it to me, I'll start patching those in the Teams section as well. So it'd be cool to get.
This.
Yeah,
I think it looks really cool.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep it to black and white, keep it real simple.
Yeah.
And yeah, like Cheese, you have your own website, you have Nifty blocks, you have all of that stuff. So if you can DM me any of the links that you want people to check on, I can patch those all in under your portfolio entry as well.
All right.
So just a short paragraph.
Yeah, it's real cool, man, and it's actually real easy on the eyes. It's not too busy or anything like that. I like it.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll get there. Yeah, I should get some time today to, you know, I'll start copy and pasting a bit more stuff over, and then it's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. You got to move the pieces around and edit it to make a bit more sense in a different kind of format. But yeah, legits chat. Now I have been thinking I don't fuck with the legits at all, so I haven't been talking about it. But you know, open it to you guys. Did anybody want to discuss legits?
Well, I still have no idea what the hell to do with them. I know people keep swapping teams. The two teams people want are I believe it's the Broncos or Buffalo and maybe Las Vegas. I don't know, but it's funny. Like people are like, "Oh, I want this. What do you want?" And it's always the same thing. Like they want the same thing. So what's the point? I got some trade offers. Actually, I didn't know that you can put an offer on somebody's assets, which is pretty awesome. I'm not going to touch any of them until I can get cold hard UPX for it. So I don't want any of your legits, but I would like to sell you my legits for a very, decent price whenever that becomes possible. Yeah.
Cool. Now, is that one legit channel we've got in the UDU server? Is that enough? Does that need to be fleshed out in the specifics, or?
I personally don't look at it because I'm not going to trade with anybody.
Yeah.
If you want to buy my stuff later on when it becomes possible, then we can talk, but I'm not going to trade anybody anything, especially like now I know what people want because they're asking me by name for what they want, and I'm making a list of what I believe are my valuable ones. So, and basically I have this hat that several people tried to trade me for. So I'm definitely gonna hang on to that one and see what I can get.
Right on. Money. Yeah, so if you find that you want a bit more in the server, or you want that area fleshed out more, just let us know and we can hook that up for you. Like I said, I don't personally.
Channels.
That's getting a bit crazy.
It takes me a half a day to scroll down to the bottom.
Well, you can collapse them all.
That's true.
Cool. I just said cool again, and I'm not supposed to say that. Nice one. I was going to say something then, and then I lost my train of thought.
You're being mean. Where's my brush? I need it back to the CJ.
Maybe I'll speak to the last point, and then it might jog my memory. Congratulations to Bok, who moved up to the vetting role within the server, so he's going to be helping Nub and Finn once we get UpX World or something similar up and running again, and Slav as well, who's jumped up as the moderator role. Not that the server really needs moderation, but it just shows, it does access different management channels and that sort of thing, so you can be part of a bigger picture sort of stuff.
I think it's good to have a more of a presence when in times when I'm not around, because I'm usually always around, especially when I can't sleep. But for like the times I can't be, like I'm appreciative of a Bach, Finn, Slav, and Nub. So that's always good.
Absolutely. Now, I did remember what I was going to say. Just a bit of a warning about scammers. One scammer in particular, who's well known to the UDU, has been up and running again. He's reached out to Finsky trying to get hold of one of his collections. He's messaged me probably a dozen times with different accounts, and I just say, "Hey, Afro, see you later. Another account blocked." So yeah, just be aware. Don't get yourself involved in those sort of transactions. We did have Coop on who's not in the meeting now. He managed to reverse scam one of the properties off him, which I loved when I read that. That takes me back to the old Telegram days when I used to be involved in. Here. Oh, cool. When I used to be involved in crypto ICO projects, and people used to always try and scam me, and I managed to reverse scam some dickhead out of some Ethereum, which was fun. So, yeah, well done on that one, Coop.
I tried to get it back to Wally, but he just wrote it off. I don't want the property anymore. I don't want the collection. So just thanks for the effort, but just have at it.
Wow. I guess he's been burnt. Yeah. Bad taste in his mouth. But yeah, just be mindful. Like, it was a classic one. The one that Finn had up, he had a exclusive Manhattan collection for sale. Somebody reached out and said, "I want to do OTC crypto." He said, "Righto." They settled on a price, and the guy, Afro, said, accept my offers, and then I'll send the crypto through. Well, obviously you don't make a move like that unless you have the money in the bank. If anyone wants to say, "Well, I don't trust you," well, you're in the UDU, mate. There's not many more widely known organizations within the community than us. So, just watch yourself. And like Finn and I were in general chat talking to him, and he was in denial, like trying to deny it, but he eventually came out and said, "Yeah, it's me again." If he had spent 1/3 of the time and effort he's put into trying to scam people, You know, he was in the UDU. If he had put all that effort into getting involved, he would have been so far ahead of where he is now. That's just kind of hilarious. And what's that? Finn said he's selling a San Francisco financial district and Little Italy, Manhattan now in the buy sell trade channel. Yeah, so he's trying to buy, he's trying to sell. Yeah, just keep in mind that, especially any OTC deals, yeah, you get the property or you get the money before you do anything. Yeah. If a deal seems too good to be true, yeah, it probably is. And Finn was good. He backtracked and had a look at the account, this latest account, and it was set up one day ago, and suddenly he's got his own server, and all. It was just such a clear scam account. It's kind of funny. Yeah. Other than that, that's all I got to say. Yeah, I'll take some time to digest this meeting, this business stuff a bit further, and wait for more details. Other than that, later.